Hi, my name is Aliyah Sela, and welcome to Psychic Inspiration Academy for Astro Insights. And today we're going to be looking at July 4th, which is Rainbow Holy Day, or Interdependence Day, as many of us like to call it. It's all about raising up our emotional intelligence, and the Rainbow Gathering is a perfect example of this because it's all volunteer. The only place they gather money is at the main circle to make sure that everybody gets fed. And everybody helps everybody else. There's somebody who comes bring all the watering and hooks up for all the kitchens, and all the kitchens have water, and you can go around and help out and eat at various different kitchens, and everybody meets and connects and networks. It's just a wonderful thing. I've also said if you've ever wanted to meet a mate, it would be a good place to go because there's a lot of really cool people meeting together all over the world, somewhere at a national forest in the United States every year. And then also they have different international ones all over the world. But the cool thing about this one is that they all come in and they build up this whole village. It's miraculous. They have kids village, and it has a seesaw and jungle gym and swing set, and all out of things that were just there. And then they take it all down and haul out the trash and leave it better than before. So quite an amazing experience. And I personally have a wonderful connection with the Rainbow Gathering because after 10 years of marriage, my husband and I went there, and I'm like, I have to be there for the full moon. I had no idea why. It was my half birthday, and there we were hanging out and conceived our son after 10 years of marriage. We weren't even sure it was possible, so total miracle. Thank you to the Rainbow Gathering, whoever's responsible. And I knew the second it happened. And the next day, I'm like, we are moving to the banks of Kid Village, right where there was this river. And we are thanking whoever was responsible. And it really was important because then I had this miraculous pregnancy where a woman healed of cancer in only 3 weeks. And it was amazing because I'm pretty sure my son had something to do with it. We invited her into our Reiki circle, and I worked with her to help her get ready for an operation to take out the cancerous ovary. And instead, by building up her body and cleansing, doing 2 cycles of that, and having her be part of our Reiki circle to give and receive healing, she went into complete remission. Really, really a miracle. And I still think my son had something to do with it. And we had such an amazing home birth. It was only 4 hours. It was on a lunar eclipse, which really helps. I think that lunar eclipse full moon gave us more energy. More babies are born under the full moon. And I do want to tell you, though, if you want to have an operation, don't do it on a new or full moon. It's better to do it in between. Anyway, so it was an amazing experience to have this incredible 4-hour labor, and 3.5 hours I spent in the pool that was in our living room, little baby pool, mostly in samadhi. And I wouldn't believe it, but I have the video that proves it. And then I was asked by my midwife to please get out. It's time, he's crowning. And so my husband got behind me. He hooked his arms underneath my arm and took all of my weight and then said, "Remember your belly dancing." And I went, "Oh my gosh, yeah!" And I started slowly swinging my hips in a circle, very slowly rotating them. And then the gravity and centrifugal force helped our son to come out much more easily. So I always like to share that with pregnant women so that they know about that wonderful offering that we were given. I don't know where he understood that, but he just knew to do it. But it's helped many others. So I just wanted you to know that woman who did heal of cancer ended up having a baby 6 months later, a healthy baby girl, and so much blessings. So many blessings. So many blessings. So, this is my ode to Interdependence Day, raising up our vibes, rising our emotional intelligence. This is something that I'm pretty sure astrology, at least in the visceral, non-predictive way that I offer it, and others too, is a really wonderful way for us to raise our emotional intelligence. So we're going to be talking about the second US Pluto return happening July 11th, which is right after the 4th. And then we are then moving out to, on the 19th, we have Chiron going retrograde. And we're going to be going up to the 28th, where we have Jupiter going retrograde and on the new moon. And then we have this very intense Taurus Triad. You might be hearing all about it on the internet. Several people are saying all kinds of things about it. And I just want to say that it equals human and civil rights focus. That's what's going on in our world right now, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. So come on inside. Let me talk to you about your authentic life choices becoming more clear to you through being in tune with the celestial shifts. So that's what we're doing here. This here is a painting that I just think is beautiful, and I'm sorry I don't know who the person is who did it, but I am just in such awe of the goddess energy, the native tribe energy, the indigenous people who have known that we needed to take care of the earth, and how so many ways we honor them now more than ever. I just wanted to say that. And this is the Hopi Prophecy that started the whole rainbow gathering, and about 50 years ago. So when the earth is ravaged and the animals are dying, a new tribe of people shall come unto the earth from many colors, classes, and creeds, and who by their actions and deeds shall make the earth green again. They will be known as the warriors of the rainbow. Yes. Woo! Warriors of the rainbow. That's who he is. So if I was at the rainbow gathering, I would probably be offering songs, because they have this wonderful village nightlife where you go around and you can offer songs and poems and skits and all kinds of entertainment, amazing instruments that people bring, and I'm sure it's just as wonderful. There actually is a place on welcomehome.org where you can see some of the videos now that they upload to see what's happening at the different kitchens that have been doing this for decades. Like Grand Funk Granola or something. There's just certain ones that have been going on forever. So if I was there, I'd give this song. So I'm going to give it to you. And if you feel like it, if you remember it, sing along. We are one in the spirit, we are one in the light. We are one in the spirit, we are here to unite. And we know we're all connected by our love, and we know we're all connected by our love. Okay, beautiful, beautiful Hopi Prophecy, and I feel like I'm there in spirit by connecting to all of you and telling you about it. Perhaps one day we shall be able to go, and I hope to see you there. If you recognize me, point yourself out and say hello. So I do want to mention that I get my charts from Astroseek.com, a wonderful service where you can have your whole bunch of charts that you look at, and many different kinds of processes that they have. You can do various different synergy charts for couples and stuff, and it helps you to learn astrology as you see what they come up with, and that will help you to learn as you go. So I highly recommend it. Very good service. Thank you, Astroseek. So what I wanted to say is this is the chart for July 3rd and July 4th. Okay, so on July 3rd, we have Mars in Aries, right? Here's Mars in Aries, 29 degrees. And then we have Mercury, 28 degrees, but it goes a little faster in Gemini, okay? And we're talking about less than 24 hours. By 11:37 p.m., we have 0, 0, 0. That's Mars into Taurus. And then we have Mercury into Cancer, and it's 0, 0, 0. I've never seen that before. It might be that this happens, but two planets changing at exactly the same time. And I think it's important because we have some very harsh squares happening. And you ask, what's a square? A square is 90 degrees. It's like an itch on your leg that you have to scratch. So it's a call to action. And we have Mars in Aries squaring Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn. That is intense energy, and it'll still be going on. Then there's Mercury squaring Neptune, and Mercury was in Gemini, and then it's going to change, as we said, into Cancer. So it's just time for us to calm these forces down. A lot of intensity happening. As we know, there's been demonstrations for gun control, rightfully so. It's really sad that we have so many issues that we have to bring up that are obviously ones that need to change, and they're just saying, sorry, it's just not really my problem. And the thing that I wanted to say that I've been bringing up is how many of the shooters are on doctor psychological drugs that make them violent. I asked that, and because I saw a list of all the shooters, and they said most of them, if not all of them, were on psychological drugs that probably helped them to be more violent. So we have to look at that, right? I think it's the time. Right now, human and civil rights are at a peak, as we know. We just went through demonstrations for the right to choose. It's still going on. It's a heated issue. Even around the world, they're talking about it. I don't know where you stand on this issue, but all I can say is with the vaccinations and with the pandemic and, everything, we might have actually a problem with fertility. A lot of women that I knew lost babies, either stillborn or miscarriages from the vaccine and stuff. There's a lot of women who are very concerned about this issue. So imagine Handmaid's Tale, where there's very few that can actually conceive, and they become surrogates, just like Handmaid's Tale. So we have to fight for our rights. That doesn't mean that we pick up guns and do it violently. We have to do it peacefully. We have to do it by joining forces. They are banking on the fact that we can't get along. And they keep putting fuel in the fire by heating up issues like this one. Like we really needed to battle this issue right now after the whole, pandemic thing happened. Do we really need another thing to fight about? Well, apparently the powers that be who run the media said, yes, we do. We really do. And the very stringent situation is going to make it very hard for some people. Now, I personally could never have gotten an abortion myself because it was hard for me to conceive, and I am very grateful that it did happen to me finally. So I understand, but people are raped. They're raped by their fathers, and they have to conceive, and take that child to term because of being raped. So it's not an easy thing, and the fact that they give you no exceptions means that there's going to be some really hard times. And I don't see this happening for men. I mean, not to make a joke out of this whole thing, but what if semen were considered mini babies and no more masturbating unless you were conceiving a child? How long would that happen? Would men really go for that? Let's see if that's something that we want to talk about. It's kind of a joke, but if you think about it, it's got something to think about. So go ahead and discuss amongst yourselves and let me know in the chat what you think about that. So basically, we are now fighting for our freedom, and we need to do it peacefully because they are ready to fight us with guns and gear. They have geared up. They have made it terrorism. Terrorism if you fight for your rights. So we got to get creative here. We got to get real creative and start doing performance art and other ways of speaking up that are not considered something that they would harm you because you're there. You know, we have to start getting really creative, and I believe that the whole humanity now is rising up in vibration and getting what we need to be able to stand tall. And we do have celestial help. We do. We definitely do. So just know that, and know that things have to get really bad before they get better. Because there was a lot of things that were bad, but they were just behind the curtain, you know, like at Wizard of Oz. And we didn't know what was going on. So disclosure is about all these things coming open and people rising their voices, you know, up to the heavens and saying, no more. We are involved now, and we want to have our freedom. Okay, so basically now the good news is since July 4th at 11:37, we had Mars into Taurus and Mercury into Cancer. This is like Mars was in Aries. Now it's going to be in mellow, earthy Cancer, which is a fixed sign, very much about the earth and rejuvenating. And so is Mercury. Mercury was in Gemini. There was a lot of chattiness and people talking all the time and possibly arguing and triggering each other. Now it's in Cancer. It's really time for us to be sensitive and empathic as we communicate with each other. And we need some downtime. I mean, really, it's time for us to access our values and update our needs because they might not be the same. We no longer have the same needs that we had at the beginning of this whole, I don't know, pandemic, if you want to call it that. We are different people on many levels, and it's time for us to go from our heads, which was Gemini and Mercury and Mars and Aries, the head energy, to move down into the heart with Mars and Taurus, which has a very Venusian energy, and Mercury in Cancer, which is the mother, you know, the moon nurturing us. So it's time to calm down, especially from Mars squaring Pluto and Mercury squaring Neptune, but there was a lot more. We had actually 5 squares, with, if you want to count Chiron. We have Sun in Cancer, and I said still because it was on the 3rd, and then we get to see what changed, squaring Jupiter in Aries. The Sun is our vital energy, Cancer is our emotional self. Square is an itch that you gotta scratch, and Jupiter is expansion, but it can be overindulgence, and it is in Aries, and Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. It's got that pioneering spirit to go out and innovate, and the square means that we're going to be innovating our home needs, and I think that more people are going to be making alternative housing. They're going to be making, there's all kinds of things, the tiny homes and the earth homes, and I'm sorry, it's with it's earth bags that you fill up and wrap around and stuff. There's people doing that. A wonderful family that does it, who I just love, is my little homestead. Check them out. It's like the Brady Bunch for now, you know. They're just wonderful people, and they teach you how to do all these alternative things they're doing, so you get to learn by watching them and seeing what they did. So I think that we need to get creative, because we don't need to have a 30-year mortgage. We can pay off our homes in a year and a half if we just do better choices. And it's time. It's time for us to do better choices. And that's what these squares are all about. I mean, Moon in Virgo, again, Moon energy is emotions. Virgo is our health, and it's very specific and detail-oriented. And it's squaring, again, action, Mercury in Cancer, and Venus in Gemini. So basically, this Mercury in Cancer, Gemini, Venus is also, again, this Venusian energy. It's very nurturing, very yin energy. Then we have Mercury in Cancer, squaring Neptune in Pisces, okay? So that is, again, Neptune is also retrograde. It's very intense because it's Mercury in Cancer, which is mother energy, moon energy, and Neptune in Pisces, which is our visions and our sanctuary energy and needs. Again, more yin to really chill us out. These squares could be thought of as being, negative because they're squares. Everyone says, oh, squares, but they are a call to action. And these are some really wonderful energies to help us with this 90-degree sharp energy, but all these really sweet energies. Now, Mars in Aries changed, but before it was in the Aries, but then of course we know that Mars changed over to Taurus, and so that's just going to shift. It's still squared though, even though it's in two different signs. It just went in, so it's still squaring Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, which is intense. That's a lot of what's happening with the world, the government and stuff. All that Pluto retrograde is us going over what it means to be part of an authority figure, and what is authority to me, to you, to us. We have to redefine it because it has gone off the tracks. It's time for us to take back our lives and to be more self-reliant. And that's why Chiron in Aries, which happened also from the 3rd, it's still happening, squaring the sun in Cancer is so important. Chiron is the wounded healer. And so much of our world is about the wounded healer right now because so many of us are the wounded healer, whether you're a healer or an artist or a light worker, an empath, whether you're a, health worker or somebody who's a mother, a parent, you're nurturing. And this sun in Cancer is going to be very good for you. And the Chiron in Aries is because we need to start taking our careers and grounding them in something that is self-reliant to us. Now, you can go get a job, fine, but still have something that's your Chiron issue, the thing that you rose up with and improved in your life because you were able to get to the other side. You were able to face your stuff, whatever it was, with that configuration and able to rise up. And now you can share it with people and teach people what you know. That's what Chiron's about. So it's about all of us being coaches and consultants and how we're working to help each other with rising up with these skills that are self-reliant skills and skills that help us to have some control in our lives with our finances by having careers that give us money 24/7, even if we're not there. So it's not bound to our time. And that's what the thing is that's so hard about being a laborer, is that you can only make enough money as you have time. And oftentimes people have even multiple jobs and they have families and they have no time with them. And it's just not right. So it's time for everyone to get a career on the side that feeds your soul, a career about you being a wounded healer and facing that wound and coming through the other side and teaching people how you did it. So I'm a big proponent in the Chiron energy, and we're going to be talking more about Chiron a little here because Chiron is going retrograde. We're going to talk a little bit about retrograde. It does have a feeling like you're going back over. Let's review and let's integrate some of the things that we've been going over so that then we can then bring them into our life so that when the planet goes direct again, you're taking the things you integrated with you and taking the whole thing deeper. So that's what retrograde's all about. And they're retrograde like half time through the year. So it's not that special, but it is a different energy. And it's important that you understand the energies shifting because that will help you to accelerate your own visions in alignment with the celestial shifts that are happening, the ebbs and the flows. Okay, so now I want to talk about Trine. A Trine is a harmonious 120 angle, and it's like this is here. So we have Pluto and the moon So that's what's going on. And this one says Mercury in Gemini, but Gemini moved, so it's no longer in Gemini. It's now in Cancer. So it may still trine it though. It trines it in Saturn and Aquarius. So we have the opposition of the moon in Virgo opposite Neptune in Pisces. And that's right here. Neptune in Pisces is there. So Neptune in Pisces opposite the moon in Virgo. And it's right at the horizon line. And this is important because this is focusing on yourself, and this is more focusing on others. So it's really time to really honor your visions that you have. And it can be illusions if you're not careful about what you focus on. Visions that feed your soul is what I encourage. And then to have the moon opposite that, the moon in the you know, horizon line where the sun is going down there, in it's kind of like a that's how you want to honor everybody else, because the moon in Virgo is a time for us to share our health with each other, our health techniques. It's really a time for healers to come out and offer more healing. So that's what's happening right there. And then we have something really intense happening. And I just love this photo. It really said it for me. Taurus Triad is happening. And that is Uranus conjunct the North Node. And then Mars comes along and joins them to make this Taurus Triad, just this powerhouse. And it really happens in layers, because Uranus is conjunct the North Node, and there are true North Nodes and mean North Nodes. Is not mean like they're a mean person. Mean is like in the balance of it. You know, when you look for the mean, which is the like the medium of everybody, that would be the mean, kind of mean. So the one in math, where you're looking for the what is the I forget the word, it's the balance of all of them when you find the center once you put all the points together. So that's the mean point. Okay, so we have two of them apparently. And the true North Node is happening July 20th to August 6th. And the mean one is happening July 30th to August 10th. So we kind of have those North Nodes, different flavors. Some people say the true one is a lot more powerful. So I think that that's probably a more powerful time. It's going to be August 11th is when the full moon is happening. So this is all leading up to the full moon. So we have also Mars conjunct Uranus and the North Node. And that's happening when Mars joins in August 1st to the 3rd. It's going to make it really strong reactions. It like puts on the acceleration as soon as Mars is there, because that's Mars wants to give. Mars is out there wanting to offer energy, and it just puts the fire on this whole Uranus, which is breaking things up. Uranus is like the planet that shows us what we need and we want, you know, and Uranus breaks away what we don't need. And some of you may be around or nearing 42 or past it, and you think back about 42, around that time, that's your Uranus opposition. And it's oftentimes a midlife crisis. You'll see that it really depends. If you are living a life that's in your integrity, that's really fulfilling for you, you won't go through a midlife crisis because you are at your right place. And it does happen to some people. But if you made some choices that were based on what other people wanted you to do or what you thought you ought to do, at a certain point, your body, your mind, your spirit just goes, no, I have to be doing what my soul was here to do. And that's when all kinds of things break up in your life to get you on the right track.
So even though it's very hard, especially if you're resistant, that's the thing. The way that energetics moves is it will come to you and it will tap you on the shoulder and whisper in your ear. And if you keep going, hey, get out of here, I got things to do, ignoring it, it gets stronger. Then you get a shove on the shoulder and you're like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden you're knocked to your knees. It's because you were told many times of this shift and you were resistant. So that's why it got stronger and stronger until you got knocked to your knees. And that's the way energy works. And that's why we love astrology, because if we understand the changes, we can move with the ebbs and flows of the planets, and therefore we never have to get knocked down because we're not in denial. We're saying, oh, okay, I welcome that energy and I want to do it this way. You know, because we have a choice how we're going to express all of these energies. We have free will. But it's like the weather report, you know, if you wanted to go out, you wouldn't go out in a storm if the weather report said storm. But let's say you don't know the storm that's coming next week, but the weather report knows. So that way you're getting an update on what's coming. So you can make better plans. Like if you were a surfer, you might want to know, oh, wow, no, there's a big storm coming. I'm not going to surf. Or if you're a daredevil, you're like, there's a big storm coming. I'm going surfing. Nonetheless, it's good to know what's up. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to tell you about is that this Uranus and Mars that collides with the North Node happens from September 15th to October 23rd. Uranus comes close to a square and then confrontation with Saturn and Aquarius, and we're going to talk about that more. But just imagine this, you know, opening up as this triple Taurus. It's like it's time for you to get into your body, to get grounded, to grow plants, grow food, get connected to your earth needs, and open up and receive what is coming to you. Because the more we release to these energies, the more we might be taken in a place where we didn't even think to go. We didn't even know we wanted. And there we end up because we are in release and just flowing with the flow. And that's how we get to places that we wouldn't necessarily choose, but are the most amazing things, that miracles in our life. So I just want to go right on here to the more about this July 31st, August 1st, which is 18 degrees Taurus. And it's Mars, Uranus in the North Node. And it is a triple force for change. I think that's a really good way to put it. Here it is again. It's got the vortex there, and that's just going to make it more intense. It's an event, not a person, so it's not the same thing as a personal thing like that, having vortex there, but it's still pretty heavy. You know, that if the North Node is right there, then the South Node's right here. So it's, you know, it's all pointing at this direction towards this energy. If you look, you see this, see the energetics here? They're all pointing to this triad here. See how this is pointing to that triad? There's a lot of energy. Because if you look at it, you know, there's some other things happening, but the main thing that's happening is this, and this, all geared towards 18 Taurus. So that's how I read charts. The first thing I look at is the energetics of the graphic design of the sacred geometry that's happening from the different, you know, things that are placed, that are the relationships between the different planets. So that's the first thing I look at. And if you know your chart, 17 to 19 degrees, I'm going to give it a kind of wide because Uranus is really slow. And Taurus, wherever it is in your chart at that place, is going to have an effect for you. It's like an alarm clock. Things are going to go off. Energy is going to be there. And if you are in the fixed sign of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius, anywhere in your chart, 17 to 19 degrees, it's also going to light up for you some of this energy here. So just remember that Uranus is a higher octave of Mercury, and that Taurus is our values. It's our basis needs, our self-worth at core level. It's our self-love, you know? And Uranus was in Taurus the last time,
at 1934 to 1942. Now that was when Hitler, the Great Depression, and World War II happened. It's some intense stuff. So what we're going through right now is it's pretty intense. It's going retrograde on the 24th. It'll be at 14 degrees Taurus, and then it'll come back to 18 degrees to Taurus in April and May of 2023. That's Uranus. So that's pretty intense. And that was the last time that Uranus was in Taurus. But the last time that I'll go back there. The last time that Taurus and the North Node and Mars was there was in 1833. I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end when I wrap up. But there was a voting thing. It's called Bleeding Kansas, and it was where a bunch of people came over from other states and voted in Kansas's their vote for slavery or not. And freeing the slaves lost, even though everybody really wanted them to win for the most part in Kansas. And there were more people that voted than people in Kansas. So it was a really bloody back and forth thing. A lot of people died, but more importantly, it was what kicked off the Civil War. Now we know that we are doing the July 11th is the Pluto, again, very intense energy, your primal energy, tribal energy, any kind of jealousy or rage or anger, it would stem from also Pluto issues. Those are the issues that are non-negotiable for you. And there's a lot of white supremacist stuff and people who are coming and really dealing on a Pluto energy with each other. And that energy is rising up. And I think that it's very important. It's been in Capricorn. Capricorn has to do with our authority issues. So we are looking at our authority right now through the pandemic, through the vaccination debacle. We're looking at how they censored people, how they canceled people, and what happened in Canada where people's bank accounts were closed because they gave $10 to a cause they believed in. It has been horrific. The authority is way, way off the mark. So we're looking at that as a whole world together like never before because of the internet. We're all connected. And we're all seeing this concept of the Great Reset. And we are knowing we need a great escape. So I think that's what's going to be happening here. There's some other things that I've been talking about as far as when Pluto goes into Aquarius. That will be a really important time, I believe, for us to say like it's the age of Aquarius, because each planet is going into Aquarius and kind of making this thing. With Neptune, it was 1998. So this has been going on for a while. And that was the last one that's happening. And so in 2024, January, we're going to finally, I believe, finally reach the Aquarian age. So let's just know that these are interesting patterns, what happens here, because we have Saturn is retrograde from June 4th, which just happened at 25 degrees, to going into Aquarius. It's in Aquarius, and it's Aquarius 15 minutes, to October 23rd, where it goes to 18 degrees Aquarius, 35 minutes. So that's when it's kind of going retrograde. And then Saturn transit spans the following degrees of Aquarius in 2023. And then it goes to 20 degree Aquarius, 26 minutes, to 30 degrees Aquarius, 00. So that's in 23. And then Saturn is retrograde in Pisces and not in Aquarius. So it's going to go, and then it'll go forward again. So there's a lot of things that are happening. Just remember that July 28th, it's expansive Jupiter is going retrograde with the new moon in Leo. So this will happen for 4 months, mostly in Aries, then back into Pisces, October 28th. So there's a constant thing that's happening leading to October, and then in December, some big energies are popping off, and we're going to be talking about it more, but this is kind of a little bit of an overview for you, and that's, you know, I'm just recapping for you here. So July 4th, Mars goes into Taurus, Mercury into Cancer. And that's going to calm things down. It's a really good thing. And then, as I said, Saturn goes retrograde in Aquarius, June 4th to October 22nd, and then into Capricorn, July 12th to October 23rd. So Saturn in Capricorn again is going to be kind of heavy. But remember, when it goes retrograde, it's let's review and integrate. And with Saturn, it's like, okay, let's look at those you know, issues of authority. And then we're going to go into Aquarius, which is more of our Aquarian vibe that we want our authority to be coming from a lot more. So it'll go back into Aquarius, and when it does, we're going to see that Pluto's also going into Aquarius. So we're going to have some Aquarian energy that happens. And in my last video, I believe it was for the new moon or the full moon, and in June, and I talked a little bit about Aquarius and how it's changing each of the planets towards the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Okay, so we know that we have July 11th, which is the second US Pluto return. Cannot emphasize that enough. Just be aware that at that time, people are going to be very easily agitated, triggering, if you will. So do your best not to fight with people who are looking for a fight. That would be a wise thing to do. Then we have Chiron going retrograde. And again, that is the part of us that has come through a wound and healed it and has that to share with others. It's the wounded healer, and our love offering, the thing that we love to do, love to share, and really our story to tell of how we faced the hardest thing for us and came through on the other side, and want to be able to help other people with that. So that's what I'm looking forward to more as I unroll Psychic Inspiration Academy. I'm looking for empaths and psychics and artists and healers and light workers, intuitives, and asking, do you want to have a network that is a God-centered, new thought, you know, higher power oriented, look at astrology, not from a predictive place, but from a soul growth place, and how we can get along, our relationship alchemy, and how we can actually heal our planet and raise our emotional intelligence. So that's the best part of what astrology can offer. And I believe that there are some wonderful things that each of you has to offer. And I just commend you, even if you have a job, to slowly start working on that as well, because it is so amazingly empowering to do the thing that we're really here to do and to give the world. Even if you have other things that you do and give, to have that thing be also something that you're nurturing is very, very empowering. And I just can't recommend it enough. So we got this Leo moon. It's a new moon, and Jupiter retrograde happening on the same day, July 28th, while it goes into Pisces on October 28th. So that is Jupiter, and you know, moving into Pisces October 28th, and that's going to be a time where Jupiter's expansion, and yet it can be overindulgence, but Pisces is really about sanctuary seeking and meditation and mindfulness. So I think it could really be a good thing to calm us down a little bit in October, because there's other things that are popping off in October and then December. So we have some calming energy from Jupiter going into Pisces. Then we have Uranus at 18 degrees, remember, in Taurus. Then it goes retrograde August 24th to 14 degrees. And then it goes back into Taurus January 23rd and 18th, and back to the 18th of Taurus at May 2023. So that's all leading to this intense
this rare transit. July 31st to August 1st. I've talked about it twice already in here. It's so important. I'm going to say it again. 18 degrees Taurus, Mars, Uranus, North Node, all coming together. The last time it happened was in 1855 to 1861. It was called Bleeding Kansas. It was a voting over slavery or not. The election was faulty. More voted than in Kansas, so it began eventually the Civil War. Last time Uranus was in Taurus, it was the World War II. We've got some intense energy happening up. So it is a triple force for change. If you have something that you want to do with your life, you focus on it now and use this energy to just bring you forward with those things that you have to offer the world. So that's all leading up to the full moon, August 11th. And we're going to be having a really powerful time because the North Node is just happening through then with Uranus, and it's going to be pushing for some changes in our lives. We're going to see things, change in plans we didn't think we wanted or made, and then we see how do we deal with it. And I can tell you that even though it seems like something happens, it's very arbitrary or it's not right, it's not kind, there may be a higher guide that's happening, and your angels are like, oh, come on, we just got to get them to go over here, and so it seems like a bad detour, but really it was to reorient you in another direction. So just be aware of this. We are all being guided, and yet it is our free will. So it is a co-creative process with the universe to choose how we're going to unfold this. Awesome. So the thing I'm really into is Astro Compatibility and Interdependence. That's right. Understanding relationship alchemy. So that is a big part of what I'm talking about here, how we can be compatible. And I love meeting people who are interested in somebody, and I can see what the lessons they've come to teach and learn from each other and help them to understand how to communicate better so that their relationship blossoms more. And then if they decide to get married, I can help them choose the date. And then if they decide that they want to have a baby, we can also look at the chart of the baby and see how you can support your child by attuning to their energy. So that's a lot of what's going on here. And I just lost my ball again. It's something that my ball loves to do. It runs away, and then I don't have a mouse anymore. But I'm going to sit here and see if I can find my ball, because I don't want to redo this. I've done it so many times, and I don't want to do it, and I found it. So I want to tell you that I also may have found some land. I want to move on some land, and I'm thinking that the Rainbow Gathering has brought me another miracle, and I'll be updating that. And because I've been doing some aquaponics and all kinds of really cool things to continue with this wonderful back to the land, back to the earth, back to everything that we've come here to be part of. And I just want to say that I'm so grateful that you came and stayed to the end. And that's because Psychic Inspiration Academy has a new approach that we're going to be giving with astrology. It's visceral astrology, so that you can understand the energetics. And this energetic method increases your intuition and your insights, so that you're going to be able to, if you want to, become an authentic life reader. And that's what we want to have, a network with a Psychic Inspiration Network, where you can do readings for others who need your energy, your insights, your gifts. I know that you're so intuitive, and the way that I teach astrology, you're going to get it, because we're going to talk about the visceral aspects, like the different directions and signs and mathematics, and how we can feel them, and the elements and all of the planets and all of the zodiac, and how we can feel those different elements, earth, air, water, fire. We get them in our bodies and we understand them, so that words will just come out. And I'll help you to know how to empower a person to come up with their own conclusions, because we are guiding our intuition. That's what we're doing here. We're helping you to make the most authentic life choices, not to tell you who you are or what to do. And that's what I want to teach light workers, empaths, intuitives, indigos, crystals, artists, healers, parents. I am here to start teaching this with a 4-part series I put together, and it's Learn Visceral Astrology. It's authentic life astrology that can raise emotional intelligence, I believe, better than any tool that I've found, because it gives us the words for the conversation we need to have. And I also offer co-creative arts and communications. And co-creative communications are similar to compassionate communications. It's just a little more organic sounding, so you don't sound wooden. And we have a lot of aspects to our spiral on words. And I'm really interested in seeing how we can get a class like that going in the future. But for now, I'm just going to start with this 4-part series. If you've ever wanted to learn astrology, this is the way to go for it. Because if you're an intuitive, a light worker, or an empath, an indigo, a crystal, an artist, or a healer, or a parent, you're going to get this in your gut. Because I'm talking about things that make it really simple and easy for you to feel and understand what it is that these celestial shifts have to do with you, how you can learn and grow from the transits that are happening, from the people in your life that are like transits, and understanding your own chart and what you're here to offer, the gifts that you're here to give, which I am so grateful to have you here sharing this path with me. Thank you so much. I'm so honored by you being here. And I wish you the happiest rainbow holy day. And if you want to watch fireworks, that's cool too. But do say a little prayer for the earth. Say a prayer that we may all know peace, that may all rise up together in humanity and create our co-creative humanifestation of a planet, a garden planet that we can nurture and endure and thrive. That is my prayer for this rainbow gathering that I am not at, but in there in spirit, and through you getting introduced or honoring the rainbow gathering with me. Together we are at the rainbow as well. So blessings to you. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to be doing this in a little bit of time. So see that I am offering it as I do. I'll let you know about it. I'm going to also do the August new moon and full moon with the other transits that are happening around them to give us a little heads up here with what's coming down. There's a lot of intense energy, and we're going to get through it together. God bless, and thank you for checking out us. Astro Insights, we love you. Take care. Peace.